Uh, what's up, Friends Church, and anyone else who's watching? My name is Gus Peters. I'm the Technical Arts Director for Friends Church in Willoughby Hills, Ohio. Um, just for some reason today, had the idea of kind of recording my creative process and what I do to put together a weekend service from kind of start to finish with all of the visuals and that. We are mostly ready to go for this weekend, and so we're just going to talk through what that looks like. The first thing that we always do is with um, we start in Planning Center online. That is how we plan and program our weekend services in here. We meet on Wednesday during the week, and we discuss how we're going to do things. So it's all pretty much laid out for me in here. There are a few things that are still not yet done in here for this weekend, but the bones are there, and I can start working on it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, while I'm referencing what I've got in Planning Center, I'm going to switch over to our computer graphics machine and start setting some stuff up in here. We share with a bunch of different organizations in here, so I'm making sure that we've got our Friends Church library open here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the countdown timer that people will see on stage. So if I hit Command F4, it brings up the stage display editor, and I'm going to select a Planning Center playlist. I'm going to select this weekend, March 3rd. So if you're watching this in feature, this is a little while ago. So set up here, you can see that it says 2 days until Sunday. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import the Planning Center playlist. Right here, new PCO playlist called The Insanity Loop, March 3rd. And that's going to look at our Planning Center setup and import everything here. And now I'm going to kind of drill down this list and get a few things dropped in and ready to go. First thing I'm going to do, doors open. Right here, we always have a little loop that happens as you walk in, so we call that our walk-in video right here. The first one you can see right here is for 9:30 and 11. There are different little countdown timers, just countdown has that video loop running. So we're going to drag that in. Next thing we're going to do is for each and every one of these songs, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to evaluate the typography, see if everything kind of gels with what we're doing right now. I'm also going to get rid of all the backgrounds that we've already had in here. Depending on when we used them last, the backgrounds might not gel together. I may be tired of them. So I'm just going to look through and evaluate that, going through here, making sure we have everything that we need in here for each song. I'm not going to put anything in order yet. I'm just kind of looking through, getting rid of some double slides where we may not have them or need them for this week. Going through, making sure all the parts are in here, making sure we've got all our cues that we need to change up our stage display in here. And yeah, just going through, making sure all the formatting looks pretty roughly okay. And again, just removing background cues that we might already have in here. So background cues are cleared, and I don't see any glaring issues with the typography in here. If we do have some scripture readings, then that'll mess with that more when we get there. But pretty much, up until now, our 4 songs are looking pretty ready to get some visuals applied to them. Coming up next, we've got a reading. We always have a little thing in our library here called Today's Reading. Let's see, there it is. I'm going to drag that in here. going to delete all but the first slide here, since we're going to have a new reading this week, but that at least gets me started, gets that in there. Pastor Eric is teaching this week. He's got his message. We've got a message playlist item here. I'm going to drop in and delete everything but the first slide again. So I don't need any of that. Hi, Beth. And let's see, we've got a responsive prayer, which I don't think has any visuals. As we discussed, benediction, no visuals there, as we discussed. And then people exit. This is actually going to be a separate video, separate video file. That actually comes if I open up our video image bin here. It's a walkout video, but I haven't created that yet, or updated it rather for this week. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to back to Chrome here. I'm going to show you what the process looks like for me to create that walkout video. First thing I'm going to do here is, of our 4 songs that we're doing, I'm going to open up the details of each one of those in a different tab here. I'm just holding Control or Command and clicking. If you're on a PC, it's Control and click. And it's going to load up a bunch of song information on here. Cool. I go through and I clean these up as I go. But the main thing I'm looking for, I'm going to click on this, looking for all this song information. So I'm going to go into each one of those and open those up. So I got those all open. And now I'm going to go into Photoshop here. Pull that up. Go into Photoshop and I'm going to open, going into my recent documents here. I'm looking for worship service info. There we go. Created this template that has a bunch of the same, you'll see repeating song on there, but it's a template for a specific slide in this series. That'll be important. It basically is a form that I fill out. So you can see a bunch of song titles in here. So I'm going to go back to Chrome. You're not going to see this, but I'm going to select the song title from our first tune, which is This Is Amazing Grace. And I'm going to get my text tool and I'm going to paste that into the front top here. I'm going to go tab down to the Authors tab, and I am going to hopefully be able to reselect Photoshop. There we go. Bug in CS6, and I'm going to paste it in there. There's our authors, and I'm going to copy the copyright holder information into there. And so that's the first one kind of done in there. Let's see, I'm getting some okay. A text from Seth Wenger, our worship pastor. So This Is Amazing Grace is done. Now moving on to our second tune, which is Who You Say I Am. Get the authors from that. And copyright information here. You can see I've got these kind of grid and guidelines happening. It just gives me a little safe zone. Also gives me a good vertical and horizontal center, and that'll come into play here in just a little bit when I end up centering and spacing these items, because we are only doing 4 songs this week, so I'm not going to need all those other these other songs in here that are at the end. I'm going to drop that down. That's kind of long. I like to put a little bit of a carriage return in there so that way it's not quite so long. Doesn't stand out. Got a lot of rights holders here, so we're going to drop that down as well. Try to clean that up a little bit. Yeah, that's not too bad. So I'm going to delete all the remaining part of that. So I'm left with these 4. Should have enough space. Carriage return here. Beginning of each one of those. My select tool. transform. And I'm just going to move that right inside my safe zone there in the horizontal center. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to save this and overwrite last week's image here called music1 png. I'm going to replace that. No compression, no interlacing on that. And then I'm going to close this file without saving, because that's my template. And so now I'm going to switch over to compressor. Not compressor, I'm sorry. I'm going to switch over to Final Cut, which is what I use to put these together. Now, it's got last week's songs in there, which is not good. So what I need to do is I need to go in, I need to, what's it called? I need to go into my file menu and delete generated event files. I'm going to delete all the render files and force it to re-render this timeline. And it's super short, there's no audio or effects applied to it, it's just a bunch of transitions. And so you can see it's rendering that out now nicely, and you can see that it kind of reloaded, re-rendered that to actually have our updated slide for this week, which is great. So once this is done rendering out, which shouldn't take too much longer, as long as I don't scrub the timeline, since I think that's a background task. It's just about done. See the little pie chart, or progress meter, progress circle up here. Alright, it's done. So now I'm going to take our walkout video, I'm going to send that to compressor, and we're going to go and we're going to look at compressor. So now that we're looking at compressor here, you can see my walkout video Final Cut project is in there. And so I'm going to drag my Worship Center playback video new. It's only new because we changed our video standard. So I'm going to drop that in there. It's loading up the project. Just going to scrub through right quick, make sure that the right song information is there. And it is. Knows this droplet right here. It's automatically going to output it to a render file location on this computer. It's going to name it walkout video. So I'm going to start that batch. You can see it start processing here, and it's actually not going to take all that long. And so the reason I do all of this this way is it's something that's pretty repeatable. It's pretty easy for me to chart out in a process sheet and to have volunteers replicate in the future. So that's why I kind of do it that way. You know, it's just something where it's like, can I explain this easily as I am right now? And this is something that is very easily repeatable. And so what I'm going to do next is I actually need to edit something, add this into here. I need to add a window capture for Finder. You know what? You're just not going to see it, and you're going to have to take my word for this. So right now I'm outputting the, you know what, I'm just going to capture my desktop. That's what I'm going to do. You're going to get to see this whole mess of my whole display. Let's call this desktop. Desktop display. Live production. Yep, display 0, show cursor. No cropping. Okay. And we're going to make sure that that is, it's not really live production. Transform. Fit to screen. There we go. Okay, cool. So we're going to see that now. So this is my whole window, and so we've done all that. Now I have that file in my renders file here, my walkout video. If I hit space, blows that up kind of big. I can see it's looking there. Pretty good. We keep all of our media files on a central server location in in our media library here. Oh, I have to do something about that. Yeah, we're going to delete that. It's a weird thing to have in there. And so I leave this in a little folder called miscellaneous videos. See our walkout video there. I'm going to copy that in and replace it. It's replacing that video file now. What that's going to do for us is that is going to now, that's going to sync over to, it's going to sync over to all of our computers on campus. We're running a program called BitTorrent Sync. It's an old version of it. Beta app because it's free at the time, and so we're running that app, and it just pushes all the files to the local disk, so we're not using network bandwidth trying to stream off the server. Everything's local and it works just fine. So if I switch back to my computer graphics machine here, we can look and see that it should have synced by now. So let's see. Date synced a few seconds ago. Great. Perfect. So if I click on this video now, I should see, hey, there are the songs I just put in there. So awesome. So I'm going to set that to, I'm going to set that to loop, and I'm going to drop that in there. So my walkout video is now ready to go. So I've got kind of the bones of a service in here. I got a message. I've got a message item here. I've got a today's reading item here. I've got all of our songs, just kind of blank slate here, ready to go, and I've got a walk-in video. So this is all the parts that I need to start working on visuals here. And so what my process typically looks like is I usually do one of two things. I either start, first I'll listen to the tunes, and we'll be listening to tunes together as I'm going through. And usually I'll either let the video determine the lighting colors, or I'll let the lighting colors determine what the video is doing. Lately I've been selecting video first. And the reason I've been selecting video first is it's a lot easier for me to match our lighting to our on-screen video look than it is to match the video look to what we're doing with stage lighting. So that's why I've been kind of making those decisions that way. So with the bones in there and all that good stuff, we're going to start listening to the tunes, and we're going to start making some choices for video. So we're going to go back to CG01, and while I'm at it, I'm going to go back to Planning Center, and I am going to pull up, let's see, I'm going to pull up This Is Amazing Grace, the reference song that I've got for it on here. Hopefully this won't be too loud. So, really high energy, really just fun song. And so, coming back to CG01, I'm going to go into my media library, and I'm going to start by looking at, content providers. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at our primary content provider, which is CMG, and see if anything kind of jives with how I'm feeling this song out. Starting with the newest releases, I try to keep up with the newest releases and use those. Really, because I'm just trying to keep our on-screen visuals fresh and not stale. And I've been really digging this crystal glass pack, so I'm probably going to use that. So I'm just looking for something that kind of matches the tempo and feel. Maybe not the colors necessarily, because I can modify those in ProPresenter, but I'm going to be looking at that and messing with it. I'm just going through here in Finder and looking at these backgrounds in here. Nothing's striking me yet. All kind of fun, but they're all little. I can speed them up, but they're just not kind of evoking the same feel that the song is. This is probably closer, actually. Yeah, I'm liking this. All right. I'm really liking this, actually. So there, you see there's a still image and a motion image here. I'm going to back the tune back up to the start, and I'm probably going to go with the still image to start us out with. First I'm going to go back to Chrome, and I'm going to pause the tune. And I'm also going to look at Planning Center and see how we're starting the service off. If they're going right into the tune, it looks like they're doing, so I'm going to let you see what I'm seeing. They're not going straight into the tune, they're going to have a welcome. So there might be some music going on, but I don't want the visuals to be too frantic and frenetic while someone's trying to talk over music. It's already going to be chaotic enough. So I'm going to go with a still image. Also, you can see on the right here the order of the song. That's what I'm going to be using to set the order in ProPresenter. So what I'm going to do is, oh, no, I don't want to remove that. I want to transition to it. We're going to go back to ProPresenter here, and I am going to rearrange my windows on my screen so I can actually see things. We're going to put this in order. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select the Worship Center arrangement, which we're actually probably pretty close to how we performed it last time. We're not starting with the scripture, so we're just going to start at the start. And I'm looking at ProPresenter. It says we're going to do verse 1, we're going to do verse 2, we're going to do chorus 1. There's usually a bit of an instrumental in between there, so I leave that in. Then it says we're going to do verse 3, verse 4, chorus 1 there. We're going to do a bridge, and then chorus 2, and then there's going to be an outro. Let's see, that ending, what does that look like? Yeah, we'll leave that in there. They might repeat that. Cool. So now this is arranged, how the artist intends to do it. And again, since we're kind of going into a talking time, I'm going to throw that up there. And that's how we're going to start the tune out. And we're going to go back, we're going to listen to how that tune starts again. Here we go. So it's pretty thumping and bumping in the intro. And they might kick into that. But again, our worship leader is going to be talking over this. And right after that, the song's going to drop into verse 1 here. And so I still want to keep this energy low. So I've kind of gotten that started there. Just following along. Looking at some other things down here. Just looking ahead in the song. Thinking when I want to change it and when I want to drop that motion in. So this kicks in here, but usually when we perform it, it's not like super high energy. Kind of save it. I save it a little bit. Oh, these are two different choruses again, huh? You know what? I don't think I'm gonna save it actually. I think I'm gonna put it in. Give it a little bit of an energy bump. And then it'll drop down in verse 3. And it'll come back in the chorus. else. Yeah. And then I'll drop in the bridge. I know that's coming up. Chorus 2. Come back in energetic. Cool. At the end, we'll go to the still. I'm not explaining that one. Alright. So I've kind of got... I'm going to pause that tune. I kind of did a lot of things really quickly. Basically, when the energy kicks up, I try to add energy to the song with what we're doing visually by having the motion kick in. Now, you can see right there, it's pretty instantaneous, the transition between those two. That's not really how the transition goes, though, in the song. It's not that fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on this, go to Media Properties, and I'm actually going to change that. Now, I'm going to make that a 5-second dissolve here, and I'm just going to see kind of what that looks like. I'm going to back the tune up to that transition. Whoops. Let's back that up a little bit more. Oh, no. Here we go. He sings and, but we sing through there. Yeah, see? Smoother, kind of fits with the song. Cool. It's going to be the same thing here when we get back into the verse. It's not going to be instantaneous. It's going to be slower. Same thing going back into the chorus again. It's going to be slower still. So that's a 10-second dissolve. And that's just because I know the tune. There we go. See, making it a little easier to focus on the words because the verse is different, kind of unique in the wording. We need to focus a little bit more on reading, so we change to a still. Cool. Sweet. Slow transition coming out of the song. Don't want to immediately suck the energy out, but I know we're going to a transition here where we're going to do a scripture reading, so we are going to need to slow that down again. We're going to have more talking. You can also see here I broke these out and have them cut, more energy again. So we're going into Worthy is the Lamb who is slain. Kind of slowing that down. There we go. Now this builds in here, but I like to save the real energy kick back in right here in chorus 2. So it starts building here, but I still keep it still. I could do a long fade on it if I wanted to, but it just kind of looks a little bit weird, so I keep it going this way. And then into here. There we go, we're back into it. Cool. And this just goes through just like this until the end, where it kind of slowly fades out there. So that's the on-screen visuals done for the most part for this tune. What I'm going to do next is I'm just going to select everything, and it's added in here, the little file names under that. Just kind of clutters up the whole display. So I guess go in here and make no no label, the slide label cleans that all right up. And so that's the first tune done, the on-screen visuals. Um, but there's more to be done. So we've got the on-screen visuals done, and I'm going to go to this kind of crappy webcam here to show you that there's still stuff to be done in the room. So if I go to my remote webcam here, it's going to be rough, and I'm just going to apologize in advance for it. So yeah, it's kind of rough here. So right now, woohoo! This is just a wonderful display. We've got our on-screen visual there. I'm actually going to just try to set this down somewhere out of the way. There we go. So we got our on-screen visual there, which you can't hardly see. And right now, the lighting really doesn't match what's going on in the room. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to program in a light cue. We have a bunch of preset light cues that have our front lighting and our house lighting kind of already set up. And so I'm going to call it preset for our first song on our lighting console. And you're going to see the lights all change here, get dimmer. I'm going to actually turn off the little webcam's light here. Not word, it's doing a lot of it's doing a lot of compensation for what's actually happening here in the room. It's actually not that bright in here. It's a little darker. Let's see if I can focus that some more here. Not so much. Anyways, so hi, back to me. So what I'm going to do here now, ooh, look at that frame rate, it's wonderful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to program in our lighting console here, just kind of match up the colors that I'm seeing. Now, in the computer graphics machine, which we're going to switch back to here, you can see in the upper left, you can see kind of the slide color. And that is what I'm going to be shooting for, is emulating that color and really kind of nailing that down as the look on stage to match on screen. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at our remote webcam. I kind of set that up a little sturdier here. So front light's already programmed in to this template, and house light's already programmed into this template. So I'm going to start matching things. I'm going to bring up our back wall parse, kind of to match what's going on. Man, I wish you had a better look at this. If we like these things, I might invest a little bit into it. Let me know in the comments below, or yeah, just let me know. So bringing up our back wall color just to match there. The next thing I like to do is the cross. I like to make that kind of stand out. In this, I could do a green because I'm seeing a green in the on-screen visuals. I could do red, but there's not a ton of red involved in that, and I really don't like red in this context just for whatever reason. Could do kind of a yellow in that, which looks kind of neat. But I think I'm going to go with a green. Green's kind of striking. I don't use green very often. The next thing I'm going to do is our inside palettes that flank either side of the cross. Oh, we're having a little technical difficulty. You know what? I'm going to go figure out why we are having a technical difficulty, and you guys can watch as I do this. was fortunately an easy one to fix. Just had a student bump it, and it wasn't set to DMX. So we are really stinking blown out here, and it's kind of bumming me out because you really can't see what I'm doing. Okay, well, anyways, outer walls. I'm going to be adjusting those. I might do maybe a yellow. Yeah, I'm liking this blue-green-yellow kind of look on those. The outer palette wash is next. I'm thinking I'm going to go with a blue, kind of carry that through there. I'm also going to do that inside our drum enclosure, just again, full blue. Next, I've got some upstage washes. I'm going to start here with one side, and I think we're going to do that green accent color. I'm kind of digging that. I don't use green often, but I'm kind of liking how that's looking. Not that it means anything to you right now from what you can see. And the last component is a downstage wash that kind of fills in the sides and acts as like a backlighting for our onstage talent. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I might do kind of a yellowy, greenish yellowy thing. I don't want to get too disgusting with it though, because it is going on skin and I don't want it to look gross. So I might do amber, something ambery looking, yeah, maybe something like that. All right, so that's the first song done essentially. I'm gonna come back here to me. So yeah, that's essentially the first song done. That's what it takes. Oh, I need to actually record that. So record that down. It's Q11, which is our first song. And that whole process is just what it takes to get into the first song, to get the first song's visuals and lighting programmed in for just one song. I got 3 more to go, and I'm going to do those off camera. But there are also a whole host of other items that we load in, message slides, transition slides, all kinds of things. So I hope this is kind of a fun little glimpse behind the scenes to kind of, answer the question of what do we pay Gus for, what does Gus do during the week, but also what it takes to kind of pull off some of these things that you may not think about in our weekend services here. If you found any of this interesting, maybe you would like to have a hand or a part in this, hit me up, either via Facebook, YouTube comments, or my email address. It's guspeters@whfriends.org. If you can't remember that, can't spell Peters, my email address is listed on our website, whfriends.org, and that on the staff page, you can contact me through that. All right, folks. Well, let me know what you think of this. Do you want to see more behind-the-scenes videos about what I do around here, more technology things, not just in the worship center, but around campus? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, I'll see you next time.